And we're back. Hold on. How do I... First of all, let's save. Options. I actually want to see how I look at old stuff. No. Shoot. I never unmuted my mic. I am super sorry about that. I'm back. I meant to say, Sir Bat, that Alu, if he wants to know about 999, he can see my playthrough on YouTube, or he can just talk to me about it, because we raid together 3 nights a week. But isn't VLR on DS? I thought it was on 3DS. Because if it's not, shit, I'm not going to be able to play it. Which makes me super mad. I don't hate myself enough to buy a Vita. Yeah. I wish I had enough money for like a Vita TV. But I do not. Yes, I did do a playthrough of the first one. So you'd be able to... You could also emulate it if you wanted to. Let's see. It's promoted 2 things at once. Welcome to the wonderful world of Let's Plays, where you have to promote yourself and the game you're playing. Mentally prepare and go. You need to relieve yourself. It's okay. It's just a penis. Half the world has them. I don't think you can emulate VLR though, Alu. But yeah, Sir Matt, isn't VLR on 3DS? Oh, the way you worded that, I guess I was confused. I thought you said the second was on Vita and the third was on 3DS. So yeah, the second one should be on 3DS. I still need to order it. I can't take it anymore! Writhing, I made my way towards the bathroom once again. If someone were to see me like this, I probably would never be able to get married. But I tried not to think about it. What is with people in that saying in Japan? It is on 3DS, thank God. Okay. If I ever thought about it, I'd probably burst into tears. Kokoro. It's loud! I'll relink that. Because it's true. It's true. Hold on. I want to try something. OBS, come over here. Load on OBS. Put the image over here. Damn it. OBS doesn't let me transfer images very easily onto it, so... Oh well, that's fine. Give me a minute. My setup's complicated right now. I made up my mind, lowered myself onto the toilet. So tired. I collapsed on the bed, completely exhausted. It's the first time in my life I've gotten that worn out just going to the washroom. If this personality exchange keeps going from now on, then I might have no choice but to get used to this. But this is too much for a young lady like me. There's no way I could get used to it that easily. Wait a second, so that means... I just realized something truly horrifying. Yep, the owner of the body I'm currently in other words, the personality Yukito Satoru, is probably inside my body at the shelter cabin right now. So that means he has the freedom to do whatever he wants with my body. I shuddered all over at the thought of a man I've never met fooling around with my body. No! I groaned instinctively. Feeling somewhat irritated, I paced back and forth in my room like a caged animal, but I still couldn't seem to calm myself down. That's when I noticed the note that had been left on the table. I grabbed and held it tightly in my hand. He was writing a note to you, wasn't he? I'm not really sure if I should say nice to meet you or thanks for visiting again. I doubt I've ever known anyone that I've had this much trouble coming up with a greeting for. I'm Yukito Satoru. I think you've already noticed it as well, but it looks like we're currently experiencing some kind of personality exchange. I don't know what the exact reason for this. What I do know is that you're a woman named Fuyukawa Kokoro. It was a note from the owner of the body, Yukito Satoru. I plopped down on the bed and kept on reading anxiously. First thing I want to clear up is about your body. How do I say this? I'll be careful not to touch or look at anything unless it's absolutely necessary. First thing he says is, I promise not to molest your body. That's actually what I would probably say first in this situation. But I mean, it's simultaneously reassuring and not reassuring. I can't really explain it. I don't know if your impression is of me when you first saw my face, but I am a gentleman. So please don't worry about that. Those words, it was as if he saw right through my worries. I patted my chest in relief. I don't know if you really didn't look at or touch my body, but he at least anticipated what I was worried about, so I can see as someone who's concerned about me. Good, that's the impression she took from that. That is... I think that was the intention he was trying to get across, so I'm glad that they sorted that out, but why was her bra undone? I don't think he was actually doing anything. I think it was a mistake, and obviously he doesn't know how to work a bra. I certainly don't know how to work a bra. That made me feel more at ease. I continued reading the note. Forgive me for jumping right into business, but I have a few things I must discuss with you. The first thing I want to make sure is what's happening is really a personality exchange. From what I can tell, it seems that during the time my consciousness leaves this body, your consciousness takes my place within it. Likewise, whenever your consciousness leaves your body, my consciousness takes place with possession of it. It's as if we're two drivers alternating from two different cars. I believe that, Trilo. I don't know how to handle a bra. I am the super virgin. I've never even had a significant other before. So, yeah. And, like, I've heard of guys who actually will, like, buy a bra to practice on so they can practice using it, and I'm just like, one, that seems kind of sad even for me, and two, there are a lot of different types of bras out there, so that seems silly. And to be fair, if you don't say it, it's worse. That's also true. If you don't mention I promise not to touch your body, it would be weird. So, but I don't have any conclusive evidence that this is what's happening. Right now I'll have to go on the words of the people around me. I heard that at Sphia, my body addressed itself as Fuyukawa Kokoro when I wasn't around. Then at the shelter cabin, Yomogi-san told me the owner of the body was someone named Fuyukawa Kokoro. So if we were to believe what he said, then we have no choice but to accept that your consciousness and mind are coming and going between each other's bodies. It's not as complicated as people make them out to be. Oh, I totally understand that. I think the problem is when people are like, but how do you do it from different angles? And also, I'm trying to feel up this lady. I'm having a very hard time dealing with her underwear because I'm a little distracted. I think that's the main problem. I can't say on one way or the other how I'd react in that situation because no experience in it. But even though I know Fuyukawa Kokoro's face and voice, I haven't had a chance to communicate with your actual personality. If we use the car's analogy, then I'm familiar with Fuyukawa Kokoro the car, but I've yet to meet you, the driver within. I won't beat around the bush. The point is, I have my doubts about that this personality called Fuyukawa Kokoro really exists, so I was hoping you would leave with some kind of evidence behind that would prove you do actually exist. Since we can't talk to each other directly, can you at least write down some kind of reply on this paper this note is written on? Anything will do. Just leave some evidence behind that Fuyukawa Kokoro personality controlling my body exists. Also, if you can, I'd like you to record the time. The time I'm interested in is the time that you took over my body. From this, we can determine whether the transfer consciousness happens at a fixed schedule or if it occurs randomly. I like this! Satoru's really thinking about this, and he's asking all the questions I would ask. If we could figure out some kind of pattern to it, then wouldn't it be more convenient for both of us? We'd be able to realize that there was one more minute until the transfer and finish up whatever we need to do by then. But if it happens at random, well, we'll figure something out, and if that turns out to be the case, you realizing the transfers are happening at random is a step forward, right? I remember I got a bow tie once, one of those pre-tied hook-on ones. The other friend said about the hook, it's like on a bra. Yes, thank you, that helps. I've actually got... Everybody thinks it's really weird when I mention this, but I have a tie that zips up. Like, you have the normal tie that everybody sees, the front part, but the back part is actually a long zipper, so you just zip it up more, and it tightens around your neck more. but the actual zipper part is hidden by the collar. But yeah, by the collar of your shirt. So yeah, I've got a zip up tie. I never knew those existed. I'm so glad I have one, because I did not know how to tie a tie. Even realizing the transfer is happening a random step forward, right? Ah, right. That reminds me, I forgot to write down something very important. The truth is my body would be more accurate. The truth is my body is... Ah, he didn't finish. Is that it? A zipper tie is kind of weird. Learn how to tie a real tie, Trilo. I have an actual tie that you do actually have to tie, and I've been meaning to look it up. I do need to learn how to tie a real tie. I've got a friend's wedding to go to in 9 days. That might be something I need to learn. I turned the paper around. The back was completely blank. That was the end of his note. What was he thinking? Jeez! I set my hand down on the table. What is up with that my body is? Wouldn't ending the note in a place like that make me even more anxious? Obviously you swapped when he was in the middle of writing it. Is he an idiot? Jeez. Really was something really important right down at the beginning of the note. Well, that too. That's fair. Trilo? Oh, Trilo is my name in World of Warcraft. Felorix was my original character, and that was the character I joined the raid group that Alu is with me in. But then I main swapped to a Worgen Druid, whose name Treelorix, because Felorix was my main character, Treelorix because I was a tree druid, I was a healing druid. I still am, actually. So he calls me Trilo, because that's short for Treelorix. I'll show you how to if you like sometime. Hit me up on stream. Oh, I just need to look up some stuff online. There's YouTube videos for how to tie the right types of knots and stuff. It's not a problem. We don't even know what the next personality exchange will happen. I went silent at those words and I stared at the note. Ah, so that's why. The note was probably unfinished because the personality exchange occurred when he was still writing it. And so, read over the note once again. Started the letter off with his concerns about me, and he kindly tried to ease my worries before continuing on to more important matters. Thanks to that creepy feeling I had about a moment ago, it disappeared. To initiate contact with this character named Sataru, whom I knew absolutely nothing about, and be able to know some things about me was a big step towards reassuring me. I'm glad he seems to be someone I can count on. Personality exchange isn't really usually a situation that people have to consider. But this indeed happened. If my partner in this had been a wimp who really freaked out and went what to do, then we really would have no chance of making it out. But he doesn't seem like someone who would do that, at least for now. I looked at his note and inscribed those logical words. With my fingers, I traced the neat, organized handwriting. I could indeed feel a sense of partnership from it. Partners, huh? Sataru is going... Hold on. Hello? Never mind. Oops. I meant to not mute the game. I meant to mute myself. My bad. I thought someone knocked me on my door, but it's just the wind. I have a friend who would do his best no matter what he's up against. Alright then. I gathered up my willpower and jumped to the feet with energy. Just as I thought, having a friend with me was more encouraging and reassuring than anything else. I could feel just a tiny bit of courage building up inside me. Oh no! I forgot. Sataru's note asked me to write down the time. I glanced at the alarm clock sitting on the side of the bed table. The hands coated with fluorescent paint pointed to 1:17. That doesn't seem right. It looks like the window outside and it's bright. It's already past noon. So it's during the day? She's been asleep? No. That's definitely not right. The times aren't linked. The time in the cabin and now are completely different. Did I oversleep? I was overwhelmed by a lot of things that happened yesterday, but nonetheless, I slept way too long last night. I was really just too shameless of me. No way! Shook my head in a hurry as Lynn's annoying smile appeared in my mind. Now, how long has it been since I woke up? For the time it took to go to the washroom and read the note was I think it was about 10 minutes. At least her pen pal seems reasonable, workable. Yeah, I agree. I'm glad Sataru seems to have his head on right. There was a pen lying on the table. I turned the note over and wrote on the other side of it. The transfer happened at 1:07 p.m. I have to write a response to his note, but I put the pen down for now. Maybe it's because I felt relieved, but I suddenly felt absolutely famished. Yeah, that's true. No, that's actually, the setting has been established, Alu. We do know what mountain that they're on, and it's definitely the same time zone as Sphia. In fact, she was flying to the Sphia's facility that we're in right now. So she was already on her way, and she was only like an hour's plane flight away. So if there was a difference, even if she was going west to east, which I don't think she was, I think she was going south to north. Even if she was going west to east, it would at most be an hour difference, I think. So the difference is, yeah, you weren't around for that part. But that's good to tell me that I should, think that way as well. Because that's a line of thought that I hadn't actually expressed yet. Maybe it's because I felt relieved, but suddenly felt absolutely famished. Oh, my stomach rumbled loudly. Do all guys' stomachs make such a loud noise? I muttered as I headed towards the kitchen to find something to eat. I can't just leave my partner starving like this, right? Breakfast is good for you. Oh, Yukino-kun! I was just about to come and get you. I bumped into Itsumi as soon as I left the room. I gave her a slight bow. Good morning. Well, I guess it's already afternoon. Well, everyone got up pretty late, so we were just about to have breakfast. I gave her a slight smile after pausing for a moment. Utsumi's eyes narrowed. As if she were looking at a child who had just gotten the skin knee, her expression had a mix of sadness and affection. Oh, is that so? I thought I had overslept. She looked like she had something she wanted to say, but just smiled. You're starving, right? Yeah, I'm famished. Let's eat together then, Fuyukawa-san. Ha ha! You are very observant. I like it. Thank you. She nodded and headed towards the dining area. I too followed behind. Tsumi addressed me as Fuyukawa Kokoro. She probably thinks that the other personality in Fuyukawa Kokoro had surfaced. To acknowledge the existence of another personality and accept it like everything was normal, that's not something that can be easily done. She does seem to be very well versed in psychology, but for some reason she doesn't feel like it's the only reason. I think she's a patient here too. And if you're a psychology patient, there are some people who would definitely take that as an opportunity to learn more about psychology. And I think that's what the situation with Itsumi is. But that's just a guess on my part. An aura of true benevolence, or perhaps an air of accepting kindness. That's the kind of impression you get from her. Hello? Hello, Satoru! Uni, who was already at the table, gave me a friendly smile. The frightened look he had yesterday had just disappeared. Besides Uni was Inabushi, no, Hattori, who also gave a quick bow when she saw me. Every time I see her, my heart starts a bit. It still feels like Inabushi Keiko is right here in front of me, but it seems her personality is settled on that of Suzukage Hattori now. Inubushi Keiko is nowhere to be seen. It would be too cruel to treat Hattori like a ruthless murderer. The cute murderer girl's back! I greeted them with a smile to conceal my thoughts. Good morning, you two. I too sat down at the dining table. Hey, so what were you doing just now? Just now? What was he talking about? Yeah, just now. You went from the terrace, right? So what were you doing? Must be something Satoru had done. I was still asleep in the shelter cabin. Satoru had already woken up here at Sphia and had done something. And of course, there's no way I would know about that. It's a secret. Come on, tell me. Nope. Stingy. Uni-kun, you shouldn't talk like that. We each have our own private things to deal with, right? Huh. Even though he's complaining, he didn't seem to care all that much. Kali, I'm starving! Yes, just hold on a bit longer. Uni's attention long since shifted to his stomach. Here we go, enjoy. Utsumi brought out a meal on a tray. On the menu was toast, bacon, and eggs, and tuna salad. Pretty similar to my breakfast. The savory aroma of the toast rose to our nose and made our stomachs groan in hunger. Make sure to eat plenty, okay? The four of us started our late breakfast. That does look like a good breakfast. According to the clock, it should be considered lunch already, but let's not worry about such details. He's gonna give me cholesterol poisoning, I swear. No, he's gonna give me fucking diabetes. That kid is adorable. It's so good, Kali. Hattori nodded enthusiastically at Uni's compliment. It was flawless Western breakfast. Utsumi really has some skills. The food was absolutely delicious. Perfectly brown toast. I can never manage that. Soft-boiled eggs that melt in your mouth. I usually don't soft-boil them. I usually just do over easy. And a big serving of tuna salad. I actually don't usually have tuna salad, but it's tempting. With a big breakfast like this, one can't help but feel happy. Oh, thank you. But make sure you chew your food properly, okay? Utsumi said gently to Uni as he stuffed his face with food. When Hattori heard that, she nodded as if to make up her own mind about something. Chew. She chewed her food with a really serious look on her face. She just looked so cute, I couldn't help but smile. Hattori looked confused by my reaction. The Hattori personality seemed to be the type that doesn't betray emotions easily, but inwardly she seems like a good person. There's more, so just let me know if you want seconds, okay? Okay. Okay. Saying that, Utsumi pointed the bowl at me with tube salad in it. Eh? Did you leave all the cucumbers? About that. Sorry, I don't really like cucumbers. Why? Why? They're delicious! Uni reached my bowl and nonchalantly stuffed the cucumbers into his mouth. It was sort of a weird taste, don't you think? That's why I don't like it. Sorry for leaving them. If you didn't like them, you could have just told me. So you don't like pumpkin or cucumbers, right? I don't dislike pumpkin, but... But you... Utsumi had an amazed look on her face and suddenly nodded as she understood. Fuyukawa-san doesn't like cucumbers, and Yukido-kun doesn't like pumpkin. That's how it is. They say that with DID, taste and preference can also change. This is true. Taste and preferences can totally change. Toast looks kind of underdone to me. It looks perfect to me. I prefer it just slightly browned, but I can never get it done well. Like, I burned my toast this morning. Uni had a complicated look on his face when he heard that. Right now, the Kokoro personality is inside? That's right. He looked like he wanted to say something, but he bit into his toast as if trying to stop himself. Here's the thing. What kind of sucks about this situation is, as long as he thinks it's DID, he's going to be a little bit mad at Satoru, because he thinks Satoru has a Kokoro personality when he really shouldn't have. But the truth is that the personality exchange is happening, so he would be super happy if he found out Kokoro was alive, because to him, Kokoro's dead. It's a bit rough. Even though he didn't reject me entirely, he's probably still not willing to accept there's a personality called Kokoro inside Satoru's body. Do you have anything else you don't like? If you tell me, I'll try not to use it. Let's see. I absolutely can't take things like pineapple and sweet and sour pork. When she heard me answer, Hattori nodded with a look of agreement on her face. Utsumi nodded and said, because Japanese cooking doesn't usually involve cooking fruit. It surprises people, right? That's right. Other than that, I'm okay with anything. Got it. And just like that, we finished our breakfast. Utsumi is really a sweetheart, though. She's really going out of her way to accommodate everybody. I thought about things as I had my coffee after breakfast. What's happening at the shelter cabin right now? For little burns, part of the charm. This means war. Nah, I prefer light toasted. So you only have to put a very thin layer of butter on it so that it melts just right. And so it's not hard toast, it's kind of a softer toast. But I don't like French toast for some reason. What's happening at the shelter cabin right now? I was able to fill myself with such a delicious breakfast, and drink a cup of coffee after the meal in a comfortable heated room. People I'm here with are all kind people too. Even though it'd be a different story if the Nobushi Keigo character ever emerged, it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say this is a really peaceful place. On the other hand, they're trapped by an intense blizzard on that frigid mountain. They? Making that sound like someone else's problem would cause a cold chill to run through my body. It's not someone else's problem. This is the reality, and even now, the disasters happening in the mountains is still affecting the body of Fuyukawa Kokoro. Perhaps at this very moment, Fuyukawa Kokoro's body is crumbling away. I should think of it as an urgent situation. What am I doing? I could just kick myself. This isn't time to be relaxing and drinking coffee. Hey, is there a phone here? If I get a hold of the phone, I can contact a rescue team and let them know about the survivors. There was a sign outside the shelter cabin that said Mount Kakura Emergency Shelter Cabin. It's probably a public facility, so then the mountain rescue team would know exactly where it is. But Utsumi and Hattori just looked at each other. We don't have a phone here. Not even a cell phone? Never mind cell phones, there isn't any way to contact others from here at all. How can this be? I stood up unintentionally. This is Sphia. It's not only a public medical center, but also a self-supported facility. Not having a way to contact the outside world is... how about that? The computer's sitting right there. Utsumi shook her head. It's not physically connected to the outside. Not connected to the outside? Where is it connected to? I'm not too certain of that myself. Does that mean there's only a LAN set up here in Sphia? We probably know what LAN means, but because it's specifically a blue dot, a blue line, let's actually look it up. LAN stands for Local Area Network, a network of interconnected computers covering a small physical area such as a building. Allows for processing large quantities of data which can be sent and received instantly, or playing some kick-ass computer games with your friends. Yeah! Ever been to a LAN party? I've been to a LAN party. You'd assume they have a way to subdue Keiko if she ever acted up. There's a couple of explanations for that. The darkest one being that they didn't expect anybody to be here with her that would cause her to hurt anybody else, so they just didn't have countermeasures in place. The other explanation is that they are completely not worried about Inabushi Keiko waking up and hurting people, in that they don't think she could wake up. Which kind of is suspicious now that you say it. Now that I think about it, there is a possibility. Now this is going... I don't have much evidence for this, so this is way off in the future possibility thing going on here. But is it possible that Sphia Facility is studying the phenomenon of the personality swap? So I already have the theory that Keiko and Hattori are two different personalities swapping a body. Is the Sphia Facility studying that? Or do they at least know enough about it to be able to block it? No. If they had a way to block it from happening to Hattori, they would have a... It would probably be blocking Satoru swapping as well. I gotta think more on that theory. But this is already more than 10 years in the 21st century. It's hard to believe there's still a computer that's not connected to the internet. I dashed to the living area. And PC was there. No, PC isn't quite accurate there. Monitor, keyboard, and mouse were there. But the body of the computer was nowhere to be seen. The wires gradually disappeared in the direction of the bed. I gripped the mouse and shook it. The PC, which had entered standby mode, resumed its breathing. Tell me it's a joke. Silently praying, I clicked on the icon to check network settings. It's a lie, right? There was access to Sphia's internal LAN, but it didn't connect to anywhere outside of it. Just to be sure, I opened the browser window, but it wasn't connected to the internet. They seem really intent on making sure that there are certain things that will exist, even if some reason the terminology of the world changes by the time you would play this game, which I totally respect. But browser, a software application that retrieves, traverses, and displays the information resources from various sources such as web servers on the internet on web pages. The error could not establish connection was displayed on the screen. Utsumi and Hattori came over and stood behind me. I turned around and screamed. Is there any way to get in touch with the outside? I'm afraid not. There's a cargo ship that periodically visits the place, so you can send letters that way, but... When will it come? Probably in about a month. No way. The mouse slipped from my hand. The last LAN party I went to, I actually didn't participate with the computer end of things, because I didn't like the idea of moving my computer there, but I did play in the Smash Brothers tournament. So that was fun. I had a lot of fun with that. Looking like a hanged rat, it swung like a pendulum rod from the side of the desk. Why do you need to contact? Why? Do you need to contact someone? To report to the police that we're up there in the shelter cabin. I closed my mouth in the middle of the phrase. To explain the situation, I had to tell them everything about the Fuyukawa Kokoro who's in this shelter cabin after the plane crash, and about the personality exchanges. Would they believe it? It makes me a touch anxious. Please don't be too shocked by what I'm about to tell you. Wow. They're finally getting to just explaining it. I don't think they'll believe it. They would rather believe it's DID, but... Ask Keiko to play some StarCraft over LAN with you. It would be fun, but there's only one computer. So you'd have to find where the rest of the computers are. Kokoro would be a Terran player, I bet. I don't think I get that joke, but I don't play much StarCraft. I explain the personality exchange. I see. I used to watch a lot of tournaments and stuff, though. After my explanation was finished, Utsumi hugged me. She pulls my head to her breast. She believed me, I thought, but... This is a memory that dwells in you. Fuyukawa Kokoro, right? I raised my head. No, my real body is stranded up a mountain at... This is an illusion created by the personality called Fuyukawa Kokoro. This case is rather strange, though. Usually in cases of DID, the existence of the other personality is unknown to the main personality. However, in rare cases, one personality will know the presence of the other existences. Okay, so this is something that actually can happen, my understanding, which is totally incomplete. But I'm glad the game brought this up, because that is something that I understand can happen. In such a case, the alternate personality refuses to accept the dominant personality and tries to kill it, inflicting severe wounds on the body. Like I said before, alternate and dominant alternate and main personalities aren't really accurate, from what I understand. Dominant and alternate personalities. Actually, they're using dominant and alternate, not main and sub or anything like that. Never mind, let me read this through. In a person exhibiting so-called multiple personality disorder, the personality which is in control of the body for the longest period of time is called dominant personality. Okay, this is most often the original baseline personality what the person had since birth. That part isn't always necessarily true. That last parentheses part, but everything else is actually pretty much true, is my understanding. Other personae, which assume control of the body from time to time for shorter periods, are called alternate personalities. Also, it's very rare for there only to be 2. My understanding is there are often way more. And as you learn to distinguish the personalities better, you start to learn that there are more and more and more. Sir Matt, I know that. I've watched a lot of tournaments and I used to play StarCraft a lot. I didn't know why you would think Kokoro would be a Terran player. I don't know how a Bioball strategy relates to Kokoro as a character. The personality called Fuyukawa Kokoro that was born inside of Yukido-kun could accept that as his alternate personality. She dreamed up an illusion of that personality exchange, claiming that she was the dominant personality and has a body. It's wrong, it really exists. I'm at Mount Akakura. That's right. Because that personality Fuyukawa Kokoro was made by Yukido-kun to reproduce that Fuyukawa Kokoro-san who died in the plane crash. Claiming that her body is on Mount Akakura, isn't that surprising? No, it's not like that! I bit my lip. She didn't believe me. Utsumi seemed like an expert in psychology. Of course, Utsumi's explanation is much more believable than someone unrealistic like a personality exchange. But Tori-chan! I glanced hopefully at Tori. She shook her head, her face slightly pale. Tori also doesn't believe me. Then I noticed. Won't Uni believe me? They experienced the crash together with me. Surely if you can make him say that, make him believe that inside of Yukido Satoru dwells another personality, Fuyukawa Kokoro, then maybe he will believe personality exchange occurred. Where's Uni? I think he went to his room. Thanks for hearing me out. Even if you don't believe it right now, it's the truth. Fuyukawa-san? I left the living area. Looking for Uni, I went over to his room. I haven't noticed any sign of Uni's presence in the room. Where'd he go, I wonder? I peeked in a living area in the underground storage area, but couldn't find Uni. As last resort, I returned to Satoru's room. Where's that kid at a time like this? Maybe the me at the shelter cabin is in danger at this moment. Mumbling meaningless words, I heaved a sigh. Felt he was acting strange yesterday, but if I think about it again, it's no wonder. Doesn't Uni exist in both places, both Sphia and the shelter cabin? Moreover, when I met Uni at Sphia, even though this is a strange way of referring to him, for the first time, he said that he vividly remembered the crash. That means that Uni is in both places have that memory. Just what does it mean? It was so hard to breathe, as if I was up to my neck in some kind of mire. What was engulfing me is a mire called Enigma. Pull yourself together, Kokoro. I should really try to sort out my thoughts. I sat on the bed, decided to lay out my problematic points one by one. Use the notepad! First, problem number 1. Regarding the real situation of the personality exchange phenomenon. According to the note, I consider the existence of body's personality Yukido Satoru confirmed. This is the proof that suggests that personality exchange is really going on. That's a nice TV they have. It's plasma. But why the personality exchange occurred, the reason for it, the principle behind it, and the way to break free from this phenomenon, I didn't have the slightest idea about them. Personality exchange. Those are really simple words, but behind them is a very deep mystery. And the second problem, why are there 2 Unis? Both the shelter cabin and Sphia, I've seen Uni in both places, and both of them possess the memory of the crash. I've noticed that due to the personality exchange, my personalities seem to be jumping back and forth between 2 points, but isn't this a big mystery as well? I have 2 hypotheses for it. First, maybe they're twins. But even if they're identical twins, how is it likely that both their family and given names be the same? Second hypothesis, one of them is a copy of the other, in other words, a clone. The law of cloning was passed in this country last year. I didn't know there was a specific law on cloning. Holy shit, it's 13 pages long! The bodies of all living things were derived from biological blueprints called DNA. The methods used to analyze and manipulate yada yada collectively classified in the umbrella term genetic engineering. Currently, technology employed in the limelight field genetic cloning technology. Oh my god! In 1987, birth of the first somatic cell clone, Dolly. Dolly was different, yada yada. After that, various transgenic clones were created. In the year 2001, the pronounced human-related cloning regulation law has been enforced in Japan. Additionally, principal countries such as England, France, and Germany have prohibited the creation of human clones, calling it an affront to human dignity. However, the combined powers of the forces, such as sheer human curiosity and infertility problems and possibility to wish to meet lost loved ones again, and not be stopped altogether. This is legal research, various process controversies. The accused, a certain lone scientist, he had created a clone of his own son. Reason for that, he said, was simply, I just wanted to see my son. He was killed in an accident one more time, no matter the cost. For long, a secret had been revealed, and this judgment was pronounced on him. Resolution was life imprisonment. When the content of the clone's body testimony was reported, it caused complete turnover of public opinion, which grew powerful enough to lead amendment to the law to be of the end. The law in the end. Was the boy had said so plaintively through the tears? Wait, this is all fiction at this point. This didn't happen. There's not been a successful human clone. Papa didn't do anything wrong. I'm so grateful to Papa because Papa's the one who gave me this life. And so the same year saw the lifting of the ban on the birth of human clones. Everyone was free to use cloning technology as a form of infertility treatment, as long as the permission from the proper authorities had been granted. Since then, legal human clones have continued to be born. It was even estimated by the year 2019, 1 in every 2 of every 1,000 primary school children would be 1 to 2. Wow. Okay. New information about the world of Remember 11. Cloning is a thing. As for the revised cloning law, for it to have been struck down by public opinion rallied simply for the sake of the happiness of one small boy, because there truly was a law that stood in opposition to human kindness. However, even after the amendment of the law, many problems still remain. Cloned people face opposition and discrimination. Previously stated, the paradoxical method of their birth led some people to shun them. Since the clone's genetic information was perfectly identical to that of their nucleoplasm provider, genome mother or original, they were mockingly referred to as copies of the original. However, strictly speaking, this belief is mistaken. At the time of the clone's creation, he or she inherits the mitochondria of the woman who provided the infertilized egg, host mother. Since the genome mother and host mother are two different people, the clone cannot be said to be an exact replica of the original. Also, as soon as you're born, your personality is probably going to be different. Perhaps there really is no solution to such problems, unless humanity gets more accustomed to clones with time and deepens their understanding of genetic engineering. Till then, clones and their supporters can only be kept hoping, but believing that one day surely even clones can live without fear. Finally, we shall introduce a certain person who had a global influence in the field of genetic engineering. He's Japan's Professor Morino Shigezo. Since the latter part of the 20th century, Professor Morino has taken part in the International Human Genome Project, where he had been credited with the discovery of groundbreaking methods for analyzing the sequence of DNA. Furthermore, the professor himself is known to have been creating human clones. However, there are opinions as to exactly what number of successfully produced clones he achieved amount to, if any at all, and the truth remains uncertain. It's establishing alternate continuity? Yeah. Obviously, that's super important, because they went through a lot of lines to make sure you knew all that. All the pages I skipped were all stuff that happened in reality mostly. I didn't notice anything was different until about halfway through. Before that, cloning had been banned outright in the basis of ethics, but the law had been was then drafted. There had been several issues surrounding cloning, but it looks like they've finally been resolved, but a small number of clones may have integrated themselves into society before the law was established. So it wouldn't be much of a surprise if Uni was a clone. But there's no telling what a clone would do when he's converted with the fact he's copied the original. And this is SFIA, a special psychiatric isolation facility. Could it be the Uni? No, wait. It's too early to reach that conclusion about this. I should confirm all this with Uni himself later. Third, why does the newspaper article mention the shelter cabin? The newspaper article describing our deaths and placed inside the cabin can't be explained by conventional logic at all. And then the fourth problem. What's the real purpose behind this facility? Nobushi Keiko, even the present personality of Suzukage Hattori, had been placed under house arrest here, so this is probably SFIA, the location I was heading to. But Satoru and Uni are here too. Plus, there are only 4 people here altogether, which makes no sense. There should be a medical facility that accepts psychiatric patients. There should be doctors and other staff here. Plus, even if the place is meant to be a self-supporting facility, the level of freedom given to committed is much too high. Nobushi Keiko is a murderous monster who killed 12 innocent people. Even she isn't being restrained whatsoever. And any cooking utensil could be turned a deadly weapon in her hands. It's just too dangerous. Any way you look at it, this facility seems strange. I was at my wit's end. There are too many mysteries to think about alone. I have a mountain of different things to consider. Feels like I'm being squashed under that mountain. That's right! I'd forgotten an important thing. Don't I have a valuable partner in all this? I was about to mention the same thing. I have to reply to his note. I rushed to the table and picked up the pen with my left hand. I also have to ask about this continuation of the phrase, "My body is the Sitara left unfinished." Braced myself and faced the blank sheet of the note. Only a single line, transfer 1:07 p.m. was scribbled on it. Where should I start? Just as I thought, I flopped down on the table. Of course, we'd best start with a greeting. However, I don't like that kind of formality. I thought of something good. Good idea. Why don't I make a cute little drawing? In that case, it must be something feminine and ladylike that reflects me. I have confidence in my skills. May not look it, but I wanted to be an illustrator when I was in elementary school. What kind of drawing should I go with? A snowman, a bunny, or a tulip? I like a bunny! When you think of snow, you think of rabbits, right? To fool their natural predators, they have a trait that allows them to make trails like fake footprints in snow. When I was a kid, I remember honest respect for that, thinking I too want to be as intelligent as that rabbit. Bunny! Rabbits are definitely all about the ears. But to hover over about the ears is too ordinary, so I'll concentrate on making a face really detailed first. Without wasting more time, I started to draw. Let's draw around. Pass out. Ha ha! I kind of saw that one coming. What is mutual understanding? Around? The pen had changed to a cup. What's this? Oh, hot! I was gripping a spoon in my right hand. My left hand was an aluminum cup. Inside was piping hot rice gruel with seasoning. I'm unable to comprehend the situation. My dumbfounded voice hung in the air. Aren't you going to eat? If you don't want to eat, then I'll help myself. From beside me, my cup was snatched away. Oh, hold on! My gruel was snatched away by Mayuzumi. See, so another personality exchange happened. I returned to the shelter cabin again. The lodge joined with death, filled with the smell of burning firewood combined with the hot, piercing cold. That's right. I remember to check the time on Sitara's note. I lifted my right arm to see my wristwatch, only to see my beloved watch wasn't there. Huh? I impatiently searched within my memory. It was in my pocket. I wonder if I'd lost it. But when? I looked around and found my wristwatch in an unexpected place. Left wrist. It had been fastened with care to the bunk bed's ladder. Oh, never mind. Without understanding it at all, I removed the wristwatch from the ladder. Why is my wristwatch over here? Did Sitara take it off and fasten it here? Why does he think they call it a wristwatch anyway? While complaining, I fixed the wristwatch back to my wrist. Time was 1:40 p.m. As I smelled the fragrant scent of rice gruel, my stomach growled. I felt like my stomach is completely empty. Even though I just ate breakfast a moment before, was what I thought, then I realized naturally that was wrong. When I ate breakfast was Sitaru's body, not my own. Resentfully, I looked at Miyazumi's direction. It's your fault for not eating it fast enough. We're in a life-or-death situation after all. Even so, don't take someone else's food. However, she was gulping it down. Miyazumi finished eating the rest of the gruel. That is super mean. Too bad I ate it. I can't give it back now. She can't be helped. Emergency situation like this, nothing's more dangerous than start fighting over food. Why it's dangerous, I won't say though. Mogi's face creased into a frown. From that expression alone, it was clear what he wanted to say. Geez, the only thing you put effort into is your gluttony, old lady. You're the type to squeeze her butt into a small space just to be able to sit down on the train, aren't you? A brat like you should just shut up. In times like this, it's the shameless ones that survive. Your body's shameless too, so you should think about going on a diet. What was that? Hey, don't go wasting the energy you finally built up on such useless things. Saying that, Yomogi held out his cup. It's already half eaten, but do you want some? I'll share mine with you too. Held my hand up in refusal. I'm not that hungry, it's fine. In that case, I'll... Mayuzumi made a grab for Yuni's cup, but her hand was slapped away. If it's Lin asking, I won't give you any. Oh, you stingy... Mayuzumi's greed makes me wanna... Just keep quiet. Let's not provoke the situation. I wanted to make my complaints known, but side against it. Surviving on this mountain in dead of winter, perhaps it's necessary to live greedily like Mayuzumi. Since we were already hungry, what we should have done was evenly divide up everything at meal times. She is kind of a bitch. I think that there's a reason for her behavior. I don't think she's actually just being greedy. I think something went with Sitaru. Would not romance. Something's happened that's made her kind of bitter. However, I couldn't do it. Because of the 4 people here, only I've gotten to experience heaven. Toast, bacon, and eggs, and tuna salad. Dishes are incomparable to plain rice gruel. The difference between the warmth of the heated dining area and the cold area here was like the difference between heaven and hell. My body itself wasn't full, but my spirit was satisfied enough. On the other hand, the other three were on the brink of between life and death, having already been shut up in this small, suffocating cabin for around 10 hours' time. I wouldn't possibly take food away from them. I wouldn't even criticize my Izumi. With that, the meal, savage in comparison to those at Sphia, ended. Well, there we are. Cause and reason. Why is it the flow of time feels so slow when there's nothing to do? In the end, what we call time is a subjective thing, vague and prone to frequent fluctuations. It felt like an eternity had passed since that meal. At long last, the outside had become wrapped in darkness. The four of us occasionally had fragmented conversations with frequent pauses in between. Most of the time was spent in continuing silence. As if starting the night watch, Yomogi had quietly camped himself in front of the drum stove with his eyes shut. It was probably to preserve his strength. Maizumi, too, had shut herself up in her own territory, having not moved even once. My stomach, which had gone without dinner, continued to make groaning noises. Wanting to conserve my energy, I pulled my blanket over my head like the other two had and kept my eyes shut. To hunger, it felt my stomach had a fever. I struck my stomach with my fist and endured the hunger. That's right. I thought the sensation of hunger was a clue to the true nature of the situation. Personality exchange occurred, and I remembered getting hungry, even though I'd eaten my fill at Sphia. In that case, I showed the entirety of our bodies didn't change as well. It was a strange hypothesis, but with this I could reject the possibility that my body had transformed into that of Yukito Satoru and jumped over there. I advanced my speculation while watching the steam rise from the kettle. That's actually an important observation. A somewhat obvious one, given the situation, probably, but still an important one. It was my brain that felt hunger. The feeling of the need to eat comes from a signal sent out by nerves and digestive system that is felt as hunger. Then it would be wrong to think of our brains were switching back and forth, wouldn't it? As to the likelihood of that, I tried to find some way to verify it. However, I concluded it was impossible to do so. I felt hungry immediately after transfer, as soon as my body became that of Fuyukawa Kokoro. If our brains somehow switched, the blood inside the brain would have been accumulated sugar to be used for energy to some extent. In other words, I shouldn't have remembered that I was hungry immediately. It would have been appropriate to think my mind never separated from my body in this world, and the hunger signal was continuously being sent out. This is actually something I was going to bring up, but I guess it kind of felt was obvious, which is silly of me. The biological swapping of the brain as opposed to just the metaphysical swapping of the brain. So what she's trying to say is that obviously your brain is not physically swapping with Satoru's. Obviously it's some sort of metaphysical representation of self that's swapping between them. A personality exchange, but not a physical brain exchange. Because if the physical brain exchange was happening, you'd have leftover chemicals from neurotransmitters, from sugar in your blood, etc., that would remain for at least a little while as the brain swap adjusted itself to the different body. In the first place, seriously thinking that my brain could have jumped is pretty stupid, huh? I murmured in a small voice. Even if my brain jumped into Satoru's skull and perfectly united with the nerve tissue at the spinal cord with a pop, what awaits him would be a rejection response attack beyond all imagination. This too is important. This is a refusal of the body to accept transplanted foreign tissue, a defensive reaction meant to protect against infection. When an organ of similar tissue from another person is transplanted, it is viewed as a foreign substance by the immune system, which will attempt to destroy the tissue and expel it from the body. The immune system reaction is called rejection. Often, people who get organ transplants have to take anti-rejection meds for the rest of their lives. So, something like swapping brains is nonsense. As expected, this can only be interpreted by my own personality, my consciousness being exchanged. There's no other explanation. What is consciousness in the first place? The me at Sphia was definitely Fuyukawa Kokoro's personality. It had entered Yukito Satoru, but it was me. If I borrow the figurative comparison from Satoru's note, then the driver operating the car known as Yukito Satoru is unmistakably Fuyukawa Kokoro. The reason I think that the me in that world and me in this world is the same is... what? Game is covering hunger signals as proof of exchange. Yeah, it's actually something, like I said, I should have already mentioned, but it was a connection I've already made. So, I'm obviously, back when she had to pee, that was something that was obviously a biological response to the body itself. already being transferred to the brain. What is me to begin with? While thinking this, I came to a single conclusion. It's because our memories were connected. But wait a second, were memories located in the brain? I saw this documentary on TV. As it pointed out, a mechanism called memory is simply put a network of neural circuits. Everything in your brain is a network of neural circuits, technically. For example, say you want to memorize the word apple. When memorizing the word apple, it is necessary for your brain cells to branch into dendrites and lengthen each other, connected at the synapse. This is so much psychological terms and stuff. I'm so happy. This is like everything this is stuff I know so well. A communication method between neurons. Neurons send messages to each other via synapses. Physically, it is red, circular, and a fruit. A variety of different elements must be remembered in combination for you to be able to recall it. The circuit necessary for remembering apple requires the recollection of the word apple to be completed. Also, something that is very common as a mistake for how memory works. People think it's sort of like a hard drive. You store it away in a folder, you put that folder somewhere, and you recall from that folder position. That is very untrue. Our brains are not like computers at all. Most of your memory comes from association. You say apple, almost immediately you think of other things associated with apples. Trees, the color red, things that are circular, other fruits. You remember how it relates to other things you know about. That's why learning through association is so much stronger than pure memorization, especially in education. In other words, memory is asking in what pattern are your brain cells connected. It goes without saying, but Sataru's brain and my brain are different. Even so, the memories that were supposed to have been engraved in the brain were only recalled by Sataru's brain. Does this mean that the moment the consciousness flew into Sataru's brain, the neural network inside the brain changed and connected to the shape of Fuyukawa Kokoro's memories? Ooh, that would be interesting. A bundle of nerve cells composed of cell body and axon and dendrites receives and transmits stimuli. Axon is where it connects to another neuron. Dendrite is where it sends information to another neuron. So axon is where it receives a signal, dendrite is where it sends signals. You can have multiple dendrites, and multiple axons. But this is an interesting theory. Instead of the brain being fully transferred, it's rearranging the neural network and the connections of the brain. That's not entirely possible, but I mean, there's obviously some supernatural element going on in this game, so that'd be interesting if that was the case. We reconstruct scenes entirely when we remember. That's actually mostly untrue. We reconstruct scenes based on our perceptions of what happened. Your memory is never perfect. But I understand that's probably not what you were trying to say. I'm probably misreading it. Because it's a common misconception. People treat memory a lot stronger than they should. Is something like that even possible? Or is it that the host computer in my skull is the shelter cabin and only the client terminal is where Sataru is? This is actually something that was discussed in 999. I was wondering if they would bring it up. In a network of two or more interconnected computers, the most powerful computer of the group, which performs most of the computations and network controls, known as the host computer. And in a system consisting of two or more interconnected computers, the client is a terminal that receives commands from the host computer. Like a remote-controlled robot. Rather than the neural circuitry of the brain changing in the blink of an eye, the possibility of this being the case feels much higher. I wrap myself in a blanket and lay down with a soft thud. My head was starting to hurt from all this thinking. Suddenly I noticed both Yomogi and Uni let out a similar groan to mine. Is it because it got wet after all? Because it got covered in snow when we reached the cabin? I think so. If we had a radio, we'd at least have a source of information. The two of them were looking at a portable radio they were holding, scrutinizing it carefully. Oh man, that thing looks beat up. But it's just an AM/FM radio. That's still important, don't get me wrong. Feeling revitalized, I inquired. That radio, what's wrong with it? Oh boy, I'm learning things! It was inside my coat pocket. I noticed it just now. But I can't hear anything very well. If we try it, we might be able to use it though. Yeah, alright, time to test it. Want to try taking it apart? Why do men always recklessly try to take things apart? Don't we have a screwdriver? Let's use a knife instead. Yomogi seemed somehow cheerful and took a survival knife out from his breast pocket. Tried to unscrew the radio using his knife edge, but the knife was too large in the first place, so it was a fierce battle. Both the cabin and Sophia Center presenting their own special version of hell in their own ways. We reconstruct, not re-access. Yeah, Sir Matt, that's what I meant when I said I was probably misreading what you were saying. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We reconstruct, not re-access. That's absolutely the good way to think of it. And yeah, the Sophia Center does seem a little off. More gilded cage. It's no good. Disassembly is impossible. How disappointing. It's no surprise. Having expressed his disappointment, Uni returns the radio to his pocket. And with his hand in his pocket, he put a smile on as if he were playing a trick. Hey, Kokoro! Uni rushed over and brought his face close to mine. Huh? What? Come here a second, he said, lowering his voice and winking. Pulling at my hand, Uni led me towards the basement storeroom. Trust and deception. Which we will start, I think, next time. As you see, it's time for the end of today's stream. My name is Lamar Haven. I stream Monday through Friday, starting at 10 a.m. PST. That is 1 p.m. Eastern. Tuesday, Thursday, I stream what you've seen here. Remember 11. The Age of Infinity. I like this game. I like this visual novel. I'm really excited to continue it and figure out more about the mystery, and I'm super happy that it's got subject matter directly related to stuff I'm super interested in. So I hope you guys are enjoying and entertained by the extra commentary I'm adding, because I'm enjoying the hell out of doing it. And I hope that some folks are learning some things from this too, because this is directly applicable to my degrees, so I'm excited. It is an interesting story so far. I really like it. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, however, I play Dragon Quest VI Blind, as chosen by you, the viewers. I'm enjoying myself. It has really become an open world game, which I wasn't expecting. So it's not nearly as linear as I thought it was. I look forward to exploring more, because we have just gotten ourselves a key that opens up a lot of the world. So we're going to go ahead and explore on our flying bed and our regular boat and all this other nonsense. However, remember, 11 gets cross-posted to YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, either follow the link on screen or link below the stream to my YouTube channel. On YouTube, I have a YouTube-specific series, but it is currently over, Clash at Demon Head. It finished Monday, and I intend to start my next YouTube playthrough of a different game, next week. So I look forward to that, to showing off that. What's the new YouTube thing going to be? You know what? Why not? Resident Evil 5. I am going to be playing Resident Evil 5. Unfortunately, I intended to do a Sheva playthrough, because I'd already played the game before and had a save. However, apparently I wasn't able to save my game when they did the Games for Windows Live transfer to Steamworks. So I'm having to start over from the beginning with the other character. I can't remember his name. Chris Redfield. Which I wasn't too terribly excited about, but I'm also like, whatever. It just means I have to start from the beginning with the basic stuff that everybody has to start with anyway. Dude, Trilo, Resident Evil 5 isn't it co-op? We could do it together if that is. Yeah, Lou, the problem is, you'd have to be able to play a lot with me, because I have to record a full playthrough at a certain schedule, and I'm not sure we could coordinate that kind of schedule. Like, I record it at like 7 or 8 in the morning, and I won't be able to record later in the day because it is super hot. So, like, that would be appreciated. However, Lou, get in contact with me later, because even if we don't do the full regular playthrough, we can totally do mercenary mode together. I do need to do videos of that, and doing that co-op would be great. Well, yeah, but I don't know how early you get up and what free time you have. So we should try and get together and figure out for mercenary mode, not for the main story. Anyway, yeah, with that, I am done for the day. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you folks next time.